GT Countdown, the top 10 worst sequels.
There are plenty of unplayable sequels out there that were just as bad as the train wrecks that preceded them. To truly be known for destroying a franchise, there had to be great games that came before. It takes a game that horrendously ignores previous success to the point that it feels like the follow-up is created by a completely different team. The following list of travesties are awful because they not only could have been great, they kind of had to be. Most developers would jump at the chance to make a great franchise even better. Looking back, we wish they had just left well enough alone.
Number 10. Perfect Dark Zero.
If they did anything right with this game, it was the title. It's an absolute zero, disgracing its N64 dad and GoldenEye grandpa. Rare's once, rare knack for excellent design faltered, decimating its pedigree and staining the future with the premier HD launch game. The glossy visuals and anticipation of a brand new console added almost nothing to this travesty. The level design was so horrendous that Rare had to install arrows to point you in the right direction at the 11th hour, and multiplayer skirmishes turned into tumbling matches. It might skirt the top of this list, but this atrocity will go down in the annals of video game lore as a textbook disappointment.
Number 9. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
Oh looky, it's one of Rare's games again. Is there a developer still in existence that has fallen farther over the past 10 years? Its first two Banjo-Kazooie games for the N64 still stand as two of the greatest platformers ever released. Considering the genre has basically disappeared of late, it's not like the market is flooded. So can someone please tell us why Nuts and Bolts is basically a bucket of Legos? Building your own contraptions would have been fine if it were a small part of the game, but making it the crux virtually guarantees that the existing fanbase will hate it. With almost zero actual platforming, it's nothing more than a play toy for kids.
Number 8. Golden Axe Beast Rider.
Whether it was the axe-wielding dwarf or barbarian-like meathead, slicing through Death Adder's cronies in the 16-bit era was pure fantasy fun. Chicken beasts, incremental magic, and punch-kicking thieving elves were mere bonuses. When the true next-gen sequel emerged almost 20 years later in 2008, the transition to 3D had jaws dropping for all the wrong reasons. Beast Rider's generic look and feel fails to capture the simplicity of what made the series so great. Following the exploits of an uninspired female warrior scouring dreary landscapes, no thanks. Awkward controls plague the game from top to bottom. Even mounting a beast and wreaking havoc fails to give it an ounce of credit. Sadly, this beast should be put down.
Number 7. Final Fantasy XIV.
Talk about a squandered opportunity. Final Fantasy XIV's predecessor, 11, was among the best MMOs of its time, and implemented features that are still absent from its more lucrative rivals. So expectations were justifiably high. This, in large part, is the reason why 14's spectacularly bad launch comes as such a surprise. Let's face it, the unfortunate truth is that we're used to MMOs launching in a less than optimal state, but Final Fantasy XIV takes that to absurd new heights. Basic features you expect, like a functional mail system, are missing from the get-go, its social elements are hobbled, the world is as barren as a strip mine, and there's little to do but grind repetitive quests and craft items you have a hard time figuring out how to sell to anyone. Maybe one day Final Fantasy XIV will be a decent MMO, but it's really hard to forget such a poor first impression.
Number 6. Devil May Cry 2.
The original Devil May Cry was a breath of fresh air when it was released, at a time when our reflexes were a bit rusty from one too many plotting survival horror games. So far is Devil May Cry 2 from the challenging, imaginative blockbuster that pretty much spawned an entire genre that we hesitate to call it a sequel. We can forgive the baffling Diesel tie-in. What we can't are the half-assed boss fights, the pushover difficulty, and the throwaway second disc. Yeah, Lucia is a cool enough character, but she deserves more than a near level-for-level rehash of Dante's quest. One thing is certain, the original Devil May Cry deserved a better sequel.
Number 5. Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness.
Fans longed for the Buxom Beauty's return on PlayStation 2, but Angel of Darkness only serves to dig Lara a deeper grave. After several delays, what is meant as a reinvention of the Tomb Raider franchise somehow clings to the worst of the series, with dated, clumsy controls and an unwieldy camera. Hand-to-hand combat is introduced, but it's far from beneficial, and players frequently find that Lara is too weak to push a crate or make a jump, tasking them to seek out mundane activities to make her stronger.
I feel stronger now.
Thankfully, the series recently re-emerged from the frightening darkness to the Guardian of Light, but we're sure Laura wouldn't mind whiting this entry out from her resume.
Number 4. Dino Crisis 3.
Taking the Resident Evil formula and swapping the undead for rampaging reptiles, the Dino Crisis series could have appeared on the Xbox 360 or the PS3, but the franchise is now extinct after number 3. And for good reason. The menagerie of dinosaurs only includes 3 variants outside of the occasional boss, and the jigsaw puzzle ship is basically an overly complicated tin can with one unrecognizable shiny room after another. But what really kills the experience is the camera that shifts in all the wrong places. The archaic system is manageable in Resident Evil, but becomes downright torture when you try to reach a distant platform or dodge attacks that dive in from off-screen. It's a good sign you have an abysmal sequel when its developer respectfully declines to follow it up.
Number 3. Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog!
Not that irritating hedgehog again! Attack!
We're not exactly sure if this is a rebirth, reimagining, remake, or what, but we are absolutely positive about one thing: it's absolutely terrible. Slippery controls and awful camera angles lead the furry blue mammal to repeatedly plunge to his death in ugly, unappealing levels, with ridiculously long load times prolonging your suffering. You'll meet lame new characters like Silver, a psychic hedgehog named from 200 years in the future, and wander around desolate towns trying to progress through a story, which eventually leads to our anthropomorphic hero making out with a human princess. Watching a video game icon hit rock bottom is painful, but playing it is infinitely worse.
Number 2. Tony Hawk Ride.
Not so long ago, the Tony Hawk franchise was one of the best-selling in the industry. Oh, how the times have changed. Things had already started to get bad in the lead-up to Tony Hawk Ride. Sales were starting to lag, but instead of listening to fans who were asking for a more streamlined experience that harkens back to the first couple games, Activision decided to release a prohibitively expensive skateboard controller that doesn't work. Ride is practically unplayable, and all the goodwill of Tony's Twitter feed can't save it from a massive bait.
Number 1. Bomberman Act 0.
Act 0 writes the blueprint for breaking hearts. First, you take a bright, colorful character and turn them into a soulless metallic cyborg. Then you add pointless extras like a first-person battle mode that's actually played in third person with attention-stealing life bar. If the series multiplayer evolved from players lighting each other up on the same screen, take it away and force them to play over Xbox Live. Not painful enough? Include only 99 levels without the ability to save progress offline. Bomberman is one of those formulas that isn't broken, doesn't need fixing, but Hudson Soft apparently feels no one will allow the White Bomber into the current generation without a horrifying facelift. No doubt a game with Bomb and Zero in the title deserves the distinction as the worst sequel ever made.